everyone has to keep in mind is that this movie right in here, it wasn't made by James Gunn. It wasn't made by David Zaslav. It was made under the Ansarnov and Walter Hamada administration. And the explicit intention of this movie, this is what everyone has to keep in mind, was to end the Snyderverse once and for all, remove some of these problematic men, such as Henry Cavill, such as Ben Affleck, such as a male Batman and a male Superman in general, because that's deeply problematic. It's not very inclusive. They were going to change that, use this movie to get rid of all those problematic, non-inclusive aspects. What this movie was going to do was set up Batgirl as the new Batman going forward. It was going to...
I mean, Superman.
I'm about to get to it.
Batgirl. Oh, sorry.
And Supergirl as the new Superman going forward, so that the new Trinity after this point would no longer be Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, but Batgirl, Supergirl, and Wonder Woman. Remember, the movie that would follow this is the one that was cancelled while in production. Supergirl. No, sorry, that was Batgirl. It was Batgirl. And that was the one that would follow this instantly and just hammer that in. The new Trinity is all female. And that, in turn, would be followed by a Supergirl movie. Because now we were meant to go into the DCU as well, in addition to the MCU. That was the original intention of this movie. That's how it was filmed first time around. And then, of course, some intentions changed along the way, depending on who was in charge, but still that's how it fundamentally was filmed. This was supposed to lead into the DCU. That was the intention, and that's what we're seeing here. This was meant to be the new Superman for all future in the DC universe, apart from the Black Superman by Ta-Nehisi Coates, which was supposed to be an Elseworlds tale. That was the plan 2 administrations ago. And the leftovers we see in this trailer.
Yeah, and I mean the positive buzz that it's getting, I'm not surprised. At the same time, I'm kind of like,
I think we need to talk about Supergirl's Vidal Sassoon haircut. I think really that's what we need to discuss.
I'll give him credit. From the trailer that I saw, they've definitely given her more curves than she had originally.
So one question, does anyone know whether there was an edit, minor edit or otherwise, that was asked for by Zaslav or Gunn or anybody? Has this been altered since?
There was some minor reshoots last, what was it, July or August, I think? And that was the last
rounds of reshoots.
But that was, of like 6 rounds of reshoots. That was like the last of.
No, but that's post new regime?
The intention
technically was just before.
The intention that this was going to head into the DCU, that changed the moment Zaslav came in. The moment that happened, his version of the movie, Ben Affleck's Batman, would still live. You would still have Sasha Guy as Supergirl, but she would, from what I understand, in Zaslav's new version, be given her own universe, because it was really important for Zaslav to get Superman of all characters right. And gender-bending Superman isn't getting him right. So that was like the first thing that Zaslav changed. And remember, that's also why Zaslav, reportedly, this is the real reason, was that he apparently, rumor, felt that going all female would completely destroy the DC brand. So he canceled the movie that was in production that already had that established, namely Batgirl.
Batgirl, yeah.
And then he made changes to the Flash. It's not going to change the bulk of the story, but it was going to change how it ended. So it wouldn't be the DCU going forward.
Well, now, the one difference is that Supergirl has got a massive comic book over. I mean, she's existed for a long time. This is not a replacement. So I mean, if they follow her,
longer is, but that was the plan.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying that if they make separate movies with her, that's not a DC Shiyu or whatever. It's hard
No,
to
but
say.
that's what we're going to get to, Paul, is what we're learning now is all the leaks, all the stuff we heard about is true about this film. What the story of this film was in a really big, quick, non-spoilerific way as I can, because this is actually the setup of the film. When Barry F's everything up, Zod ends up killing Superman as a baby.
Right.
And because of that, he does not exist. So they need Supergirl to basically de facto be Kal-El from Man of Steel. This movie takes place, majority of it, during the events of Man of Steel.
But more importantly, what gender was Superman assigned when he was a baby?
Well, that was why Zod destroyed him.
Sorry, fine. Okay, no. I'm just trying to riff on our modern times.
No, I know, but that's the whole thing. So basically, the original version of this film, as Andre was saying, they were replacing Henry Cavill,
right,
unceremoniously with Sasha. Like, that was the whole plan. And this movie still brings the Snyderverse to an end. That was always the original plan, because
it does look good. Yeah,
the only thing that Andre's leaving out is that during some of the reshoots, this was during the era when Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca were actually considering going forward with a lot of these actors, but this movie was meant to be flicking the reset switch.
Right.
Yep.
But now it sounds like it's just bringing everything to a close.
The only recent change they have done to it is because after Zaslav came over, and it was basically Pam Abdi and Michael DeLuca that was running the show when they were considering, okay, let's move forward with the Snyderverse here. They did a round of reshoots where they added some more cameos and everything. Those apparently have been removed now because they were promising a future that is now no longer happening. They were like promising more appearances of Ben Affleck's Batman and stuff like that. So the only thing that they have changed now for release, apparently, is they have just gone and snipped out any references to we will now continue in this universe because James Gunn has different plans.
This was why in an interview Michael Keaton said, I don't even understand why I'm shooting scenes for Aquaman, because he had no idea what the hell was going on either.
Right. Well, it was nice to see Zod in this trailer as the bad guy.
It is, but I think this is where I think it's going to be a double-edged sword. I think a lot of people are liking this movie, but I think this is going to be going back to our conversation before about Evil Dead and some other things. Down the road, I think people are going to finally realize, wait a minute, this is the same movie we already got once before, only it's not Henry Cavill being Superman, it's Sasha instead. And it's going to feel a lot like the last Spider-Man movie, because this movie is the reason we got Spider-Man No Way Home. Believe it or not, which is weird. I know it doesn't make sense, but this movie was already shooting back when Culture and I were in high school. So, and I know I'm being a little facetious. Actually, no, this movie actually did start shooting when my kid was still in high school, to be honest with you. Yeah. That is an actual truth there.
This is true. We remember this because Midnight's Edge was around to cover it. This, Spider-Man No Way Home, that was thrown together in no time flat as a direct response to this movie and to all of the multiverse hopping they were doing here. I mean, this movie may even be the reason why the MCU is doing the multiverse saga.
Well, yeah, because the moment they heard Michael Keaton was coming back, they're like, "Oh, well, we'll match you with Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire." Is what they did.
Can I suggest something that I don't know if anybody's paying attention to yet? Since we can now sue Hollywood for putting out trailers that have scenes in them that don't show up in the films.
Can we do that?
Oh yeah.
Can we, or can they just in England? I never.
Well, it's kind of like truth in advertising here in the States. I mean, if we wanted to push the issue, we might give it a go. But I find it interesting because I believe there are going to be scenes from the teasers that were released early for this. That those scenes aren't going to be in this film. I think they're gonna have some problems.
I just think it's really cool to see how vigorous Keaton still looks in this.
Oh, well,
yes. As someone who's not as immersed in the background of how the film came to be, I watched the trailer. I was surprised. I liked it. Like, it seems like a fun superhero movie, a classic, something I would go again. This is coming from the common man.
And that's actually the perfect point of view, because
Yeah.
this trailer was meant to convince you. So did it do its job? Like, let's go through your reaction to the trailer, Carrie.
It
If
looked
like you saw this, give us your breakdown. How was it? What did you feel?
well. My only thing is that I wish it were just a film about Batman, Michael Keaton as Batman. I would like to see him again, a full film about him. I'm not as interested in the Flash character or actor, but it does look interesting. This is the kind of thing I might go to the theater to see. Just a good summer fun blockbuster superhero sort of nostalgia for those kind of films when I was younger. And as far as Supergirl, just so I understand, Andre, you're saying they were they were trying to have Supergirl kind of replace Superman. Is that right?
Yes,
And now
that
that
is indeed correct. That is why
wow,
the
okay.
bulk of this movie is a remake of Man of Steel. Because what happens here is basically that the Flash, he goes back in time, he screws everything up, and so they're doing like the Back to the Future 2 rules.
Okay.
So in this timeline, then Kal-El is killed as a baby. That's how they got rid of Henry Cavill. But instead, you have Supergirl, Sasha Calle. So she's going to be. The original intention was for her to be Superman going forward in the DCU, which is why, to properly establish her that she's been here the whole time, and to wipe the slate clean of the Snyderverse and everything. Now you basically undo it all and you make it so that Supergirl was always the Superman of the new DCU. Whereas Ben Affleck's Batman, he was just basically going to disappear into a portal of time or something, never to be seen again. So the
No, we
whole
shit
point,
you not. I don't
No,
know if this
for real.
is still. Yeah, I don't know if this is still in the movie or not. But
Wow.
like, yeah,
It's still happening now.
there's like an after credits scene where Michael Keaton shows up to Barry's house and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Something got messed up, Barry." And he takes him to the Batcave, like it cuts, and then he has like this signal, and it's Ben Affleck's Batman saying, "Barry, we need your help." So like, yeah, it was all this big setup of the multiverse got completely disoriented. Still, not everything got fixed like he thought. So like, yeah, that was the setup going forward to basically hit a reset button on all this stuff, but still be able to use all the same actors, plus basically insert Michael Keaton over Ben Affleck as well, because Affleck is done. Like
that was the whole reason why
Yeah.
Ben Affleck, while Michael Keaton was also in the now cancelled Batgirl movie. Because in the new DCU going forward, Ben Affleck's Batman is lost in time and no longer exists, replaced by Michael Keaton's Batman. But that's just a stopgap, because the new Batman would be Batgirl, to established in the now cancelled Batgirl movie.
Well, and I got to say, for those in the audience who may not remember our reporting, and especially for those on the panel here, we reported that they were going to make a Batman Beyond movie. And what that is about an older Batman who trains a young new Batman. And that is basically what Batgirl ended up becoming. So for anybody who's still like on the fence of like, well, I don't know, maybe I wanted to see Batgirl. No, you didn't, because that was our Batman Beyond they were trying to push on us. That was what's his face Hamada's version of Batman Beyond, because supposedly he was not a big fan of it anyway.
But I'm curious, Carrie, you are obviously hearing this for the first time. But just seeing the trailer, you see there has to be something to this, because otherwise, why would they be remaking Man of Steel with the girl boss Superman?
Yeah.
So now when you hear that the original intention was for the full DCU to be helmed by Supergirl, Batgirl, and Wonder Woman going forward, are you excited? Well, it's no longer happening, but is that something that would have excited you, or did we all dodge a bullet there?
I would love that. I've got my Wonder Woman mug here. I'm just kidding. I happen to have this mug here today. No, I don't want to see all female superheroes. I don't, as the common man. I read, my brother was really into DC and Marvel. When I was younger, I read some of his comics, and as a heterosexual woman who has read some comics, who goes to some superhero movies, like I want to see men at the helm. I do. Does that sound sexist? I mostly want to see, I mean, I don't mind female characters, and I do like strong female characters, but when I go to see a movie about someone saving the universe, that's a more masculine story that's being told, in my opinion. So to try and say we're going to make the leads of all of these films women because that's what women want, I don't think they know women very well. It's like on the Brawny paper towels where they replaced Brawny, the woodsman. They replaced him with a woman. And all my female friends are like, no, I buy it for the sexy woodsman. Like, I don't want a woman on my paper
You mean
towels.
Ezra Miller's not a sexy male type that you want to see in a movie?
No, he just looks pretty young. And fey. He's a little fey.
Well, I mean, this is the an amazing. I mean, again, this is feminist versus women argument. There was a huge outcry by a certain contingent against the attractive women in Mass Effect 3. I don't know if you're a video gamer at all, or the Mass Effect series.
Yeah, Mass Effect.
And that's one of my favorite series. But I mean, I know a lot of women who played Mass Effect, and they loved the sexy women in it. I mean, it's women like seeing other good-looking women. But there's a certain class of women who just think it's somehow bad. I don't understand that.
Right. Well, and also
women
like to see capable, strong men.
Yeah. But I think that's also genetically, that's part of our lizard brain too. Women have been they have been hunters, they've been gatherers, but they've also, managed things back at the ranch. And men went out into war, got killed, and they did that kind of stuff. That was our role. Not me, I'm a wimp. But if something happened in our family, I would push my wife out there first. But that's a different story.
On average, that's been the case. The man would bring home the woolly mammoth.
That's right.
And the woman would make the mammoth soup. On average.
Right. Yeah. On average. And I'm not casting aspersions against any women who don't like going out and getting the
and some women would go hunt the mammoth, but not as many on average.
Yes.
Well, and speaking of women, I can't believe they let any women on set with Ezra Miller. I mean, I'm sure they had to make sure all chairs were bolted down at the time.
We need to, you know what? Personally, I hope this is a redemption story for him. He doesn't go back there. He learns his lesson. That's my thought on Ezra.
All I've heard here's my update on Ezra, because it's been so quiet on him. The only thing I've heard from my sources is that basically he has behaved. That's it. But I mean, there's no real future here for the Flash. He's not announced in any of the upcoming projects. I really have a hard time seeing them dealing with him going forward. The kid needs a vacation at a rehab center and then some.
Well, he's on vacation now. Capitalism is a wonderful thing. If this movie hits $2 billion, I guarantee you he'll be back.
You think this film is going to hit $2 billion? That's the thing, is it has to.
No. I'm just looking. Yeah. That's not my point. My point is, if this is a massive success.
Yeah, you're saying find it to cure. That'll cure all. Money will cure all.
No, it has a
He's not wrong
effect.
Though, Culture. Like, that's the only way that this movie and he has any future is of the Flash. Is if
let me get my lab coat on and talk about money being a curative.
Okay.
Yes, just inject some money and it fixes everything.
That's correct.
Even AIDS, according to South Park.
Oh my.
Tom, where are you going?
Well, it's true. They just inject money and it fixes everything. Haven't you seen that episode?
No.
Well, it depends on who you give that money to. But that's a completely different.
And the thing is, he's kept his nose clean. We haven't heard anything from anybody.
Well, to be clear, of course, he's kept his nose clean because one, he's been locked away in rehab, and I bet you that Warner, they have taken the expense of having 2 armed guards with him at all times to make sure he doesn't get into any trouble.
And I will bet you anything that he would have otherwise been sued. His salary, whatever he made on this movie, would have been taken away if he didn't.
Absolutely. I think that he basically got the option that you can now have 2 options here. You can agree to go to the go to the rehab and stay
Yeah.
out of the trouble and accept these two big, strong, armed gods with you at all times to make sure that you do. Or you can choose to say no to all that and go it at your own and to do something else, in which case we'll sue you for everything you own and will own for 5
Yep.
generations to come.
Yep. So we shall see. I'm always interested in a redemption story. People are mad at him for good reason. But everyone deserves
Let's
a
not
break.
make any assumptions here.
Yeah.
Kerry, are you familiar with why people are angry with Ezra Miller, and
Yeah.
whether or not? Tom, maybe you can do like a rundown of.
You can do a rundown. It would be
Miller's
good for me
greatest
to hear
hits.
the summary, but I've heard a lot of the greatest hits. And
Well,
the
let's
fact
see.
that he's still working.
He's thrown a chair at a woman before. He broke into somebody's house and threatened them. He broke into
On
somebody
their
else's
life.
house and stole alcohol. He choked a chick in Iceland. He's
they-
still
Don't
under
forget he was a
investigation for
cult
child
leader.
endangerment. He's been accused of being a cult leader and kidnapping and brainwashing a woman. Again, accused. That's just off the top of my head. I'd have to
Let's
actually
also
go.
not forget like these. I believe.
Oh, there was the
two
weird arrest
different
when he was dressed like
Native
the Joker.
American women that he was also like accused of like brainwashing and.
Well, that's what I meant. Yeah,
Well,
the one.
how you guys are leaving out the hunting down and threatening of the KKK members?
That was just a video, though.
Oh,
He didn't do it as far as we know yet.
You don't know that. Oh man, now we have
Dr. Paul's here. He plays one on YouTube.
We have an authority figure now. Look out.
You can believe me, I'm wearing a medical outfit.
We have the script doctor and we have the skimp doctor.
Because you know how we trust the medical community these days since the last 2 years.
Oh, and also on top of that, he also apparently behaved like a loon on the set of The Flash, actually, while it was being filmed.
Oh yeah, and the
He
other
apparently
one.
put in a great performance as someone confused about what's going on with like the timelines and everything. But he apparently was as confused with what's going on in real life and on scene and everything like that. Plus, it was also like reported multiple places that he apparently had severely lacking personal hygiene and liked to go around barefoot with overgrown toenails, just to like add to the whole image of everything. So,
does he have famous parents?
Rich parents.
Oh, okay.
Rich parents, yes. He has
Indulgent parents.
He has parents and people around him that have supported every single choice he has ever made. And when he decided that this whole thing, like being a male and stuff, wasn't all for him, there was loads of support and everything there. And he was basically just a healthy young they-them. No one suspected anything.
I just find it kind of incredible because I remember other actors who, I don't know if you guys watched Lost way back when, but there were 2 actors who were caught, they got a DUI or something in Hawaii and it's done. You're off. You're gone. I mean, the fact that he's been involved in so many scandals and he's still sort of untouchable, just, I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's gotta. The only reason that anybody can come up with is just because of his status as a they/them. Because look at Johnny Depp. They didn't even have any proof that he actually did anything, and everybody was instantly
And they took him off of films. Yeah.
But that's because he's a straight white male. But Ezra's not, so he's got the exception to the rule. But we'll see how long that lasts for him. Let's see what the audience is saying about this. Tony B.